fully let it in so it can be processed and relinquished. Nor are you able to let it go, for you cannot fully let go of what you have not yet welcomed in. When we brace against our feelings, we turn away from them. Because we have experienced intolerable sensations and feelings in the past, like my son, our tendency is to actively avoid them. Mentally, we split off or dissociate these feelings. Physically, our bodies tighten and brace against them. We seem to live under the assumption that if we allow ourselves to feel these feelings and sensations, they will overwhelm us forever. But the truth is that if we can find a way to allow ourselves to feel these feelings and sensations, we will be free of them. The fear of being consumed by these overwhelming feelings leads us to believe that only not feeling them will make them go away. This assumption simply is not true. Fighting against or hiding from unpleasant or painful sensations and feelings will generally make things worse. The more they are avoided, the more energy is spent keeping them at bay. Energy that should have been used for feeling alive and open to new experiences. What is not felt remains unchanged or gains an inward pressure. This forces people to step up their methods of avoidance and defense. Their methods of avoidance and defense: substance abuse, chronic gaming, chronic gambling, overeating, anything so I can feel anything but this emotion. Anything. Self-harming. Anything to feel anything other than this emotion. What is not felt remains unchanged or gains an inward pressure. Abandoned feelings call out for attention. Off-track behavior. When we see off-track behavior in our children, it's a sign that they're needing help. They're not bad kids. They're kids that need help. So the other thing that gets in the way of feeling our feelings and emotional intelligence is watching others act out from their feelings. So if I grew up in a household where my parents are fighting at each other a lot and throwing a lot of U-bombs at each other, you're just so sensitive. Well, you're always yelling at me and putting me down. Well, you're just sensitive, and if you would just blah, 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 U-bomb, 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 that will probably give the child the message that anger is destructive and dangerous and don't feel it. That's what happened to my client who had chronic back pain for 10 years. Terrifying to feel feelings, because feelings were, anger in particular, was so destructive that it's just safer not to feel it at all. So the way we talk to each other in our own households as partners matters, and the way we talk to our children matters too. It also, some children grow up in households where feelings are not discussed at all, and it looks like no one's feeling anything at all, and feelings aren't talked about at all, and anytime I have a feeling, I'm ignored, and people just look the other way, and that also can give me the message that feelings are dangerous, and that can cut me off from identifying my own feelings. So I've never heard a feeling mentioned in the house. I don't have any emotional literacy. So either acting out from our feelings or denying feelings and dismissing them and not having them at all, both really unhelpful for the promotion of emotional intelligence. Then there's the societal treatment of emotion, the way our whole culture relates to the expression of strong and pleasant feelings. Bob Stahl is a wonderful teacher in this area, in the Bay Area. He teaches mindfulness-based stress reduction at El Camino Hospital. He actually trains all of the major people in the area who are teaching it now. He's one of the esteemed teachers. He has great friends, really loving friends. And he went for a hike with his friends and his kids one time. And on the hike, his son fell and hit his head and started to cry. One of his friends came over and said, "Hey, you want this granola bar? It's organic, it has some chocolate in it." And Bob Stahl said, "Thank you so much, but my son hit his head and he just needs to have a good cry." A little while later, someone came over and said, "I have a funny joke, it's really funny, they just told me over there, you want to hear it?" "Thank you so much, but my son hit his head and he just needs to have a good cry." A little while later, someone said, "Hey, the group's leaving, come on, you're going to get left behind." And Bob Stahl said, "Thank you so much, but my son hit his head and he just needs to have a good cry." Loving people, loving friends, best of intentions, trying to calm the child down and comfort the child, which would cause the child to stuff the feelings instead of express in a healthy, safe way. Good intentions, we've all done this. We've all tried to distract a child from their feelings with food, a treat, a cookie, ice cream, entertainment, a movie, an audiobook, a screen. And eventually we distract ourselves with overwork, achievement, anything not to feel my feelings. A beer, my screen, I'm working hard. I don't have to feel my feelings. I got all these 3 distractions for the rest of my life. Painful life, that would be. To not be in touch with the richness of emotion that can enrich our lives so deeply and help us feel connected to each other in meaningful ways. Then there's our direct treatment of our children as they're feeling their feelings. And that can either promote their emotional intelligence or get in the way of the emotional intelligence. I also actually just want to go back to the societal treatment of emotion and tell you a guilty pleasure of mine. So my husband and I really love to watch So You Think You Can Dance. It's a TV show where kids and young adults are expressing themselves through dance and competitions, and you might have heard about this. And in this show, they're encouraged, most of them are on this journey of mostly getting in touch with their emotional lives and learning to express themselves through dance more fully, and it's so inspiring, and I love that part of it. One part of it has been breaking my heart for the, I think, 13 years that it's been running. So Kat is this glamorous, lovely host. She's so loving and caring. And when the kids, towards the end of the season, when they've really gotten in touch with their hearts, because the coaches are all helping them get in touch with their hearts so they can express themselves through dance, sometimes they end up crying after a dance and standing next to Kat, who's loving and supportive like a mom to them, and the whole 3 million people or more are watching. And Kat says to them, "Don't cry. Why are you crying? Don't go over and cry." Oh. They've been encouraged to get in touch with their hearts and express themselves deeply. And in front of millions and millions of adults and children, this loving, supportive figure is saying on live TV, "Why are you doing that? Don't do that. Don't cry." And they're filled with joy, and they're so moved, and they're feeling so alive, and they're being told not to cry in front of millions of people. That's what our society does. Out of the best of intentions. I see every ounce of her body think she's doing something very loving in that moment. Yeah. So of course we as parents have learned to do this too, out of our best of intentions. Of course we've learned to encourage children to stop crying and stuff their feelings. Of course, how could we not? And you, on the cutting edge of this information, you're here learning about the science behind the health of expressing feelings, the importance of releasing tears, and the way it can clear us up for some new delight. So thank you for coming. A little bit more and then I'll be done. Most people want their kids to be happy, but if we just want them to only be happy, we're doing them a disservice. We can support them and tonight go home and talk to them about the importance of emotional wholeness, not just happiness. If we focus on them being happy all the time, they will fail. There's no way they can achieve that, and they will feel bad about themselves for it. That's what drives depression. The encouragement for emotional wholeness will help. The focus on being happy all the time will hurt them. Please don't focus on them being happy all the time. Wendy Mogul, who wrote Blessings of a Skinned Knee and The Blessings of a B+, says in an interview, she said, please let them be devastated when they're 6 years old. Please let them be devastated on the soccer field many, many times. Please don't let their first experience with real devastation be when they're in college. They won't make it. We need to give them lots of experience of devastation. Encourage that emotional wholeness, not just happiness. Society says no fear. Wisdom says no fear. Know what it feels like to be afraid. Be prepared for it. Expect and predict you're going to be a little nervous before you give a talk at Duveneck School. Society says no frustration. Wisdom says no frustration. Know what the signals are as it's building in you so you don't act out on your kids and your partner when you're feeling it. And you can take a moment to remove yourself from the situation so you can protect the people you love most in the safety of your home. So your home can become a safety zone. No frustration. Society says no sadness. Wisdom says no sadness. Just acknowledge what's true for you. Society teaches, no, shh, don't cry. Don't cry, why are you crying? No, don't do that. Don't cry. Wisdom invites, yes, that's it. Tell me all about it, sweetie. Keep going. Get it all out. Mindfulness teacher Jack Kornfield says, if you can sit quietly after difficult news, if you can remain calm after financial downturns, you're probably a dog. He's kind of saying, she's saying why. He's kind of saying that if you don't feel anything at all, you're probably not human. That makes sense? Yeah. So we can support what Carl Jung proposed, emotional wholeness. We can go home and tell our children, may you experience emotional wholeness, my dear child. May you know that all of the emotions are just like different colors of the rainbow. They're all important and essential. And if you try to take one color out of the rainbow, you lose the whole rainbow because it's not possible. And if we try to take one emotion out of the emotional life, you lose the whole emotional life, including the joy and the delight, because it's not possible. We can tell our children this when we go home tonight. So what do we do with this information? How do we promote emotional intelligence in our kids? Come back on Tuesday, October 22nd to Walter Hayes School for Part 2, How to Become Your Child's Emotional Coach. I'll give you a little sneak peek before we end. We can